Good. Good evening and welcome to another meeting of the Raynham Board of Selectmen. The minutes, gentlemen. Have you had an opportunity?
Yes, I make a motion that they be accepted as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have no department head here this evening, no appointments. Well, we would have, no, one appointment maybe. Public hearing at 7 o'clock. The Board of Selectmen will meet on Tuesday, May 8th, 2012, at 7 p.m. to consider a change of hours for Peddler's Loft, 1 Judson Street, Raynham, Mass. Matthew Cummings, manager. The opening time requested for Sunday mornings is 10 a.m. instead of 12 noon. All interested parties will be heard at this time. Do we have anyone here to speak in favor?
We do. Hi, I'm Matt Cummings, the opportunity to have a couple hours to get a little more revenue during Sundays where we can offer a little more food, maybe a mimosa, Bloody Mary, some sangria. We can open at 10 when there's a lot of people at the flea market, and it hopefully would just increase my revenue. And I just really hope you'd consider that. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone in, no, there's no one else here, so go to the board.
Mr. Cummings, do you serve food at your establishment?
Yes, we do.
You have a full menu?
Yes.
Okay, and a kitchen there?
Yep.
And a chef on staff?
I cook.
Okay,
I'm basically the cook.
okay. I didn't know that you had served food
yes,
there.
yes.
What time do you normally open on Sundays?
Normally, I'm there at 11.
Yeah.
Probably open up about 11:30. And we do have a lot of foot traffic that will come up. Can we, get a beer? Could we get a margarita? Could we get a sangria? Could we get a...
That
mimosa?
early?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I had the eggs and stuff like that, I think it would combine with the Bloody Mary. You know what I mean? And
Are you looking to expand your menu? I mean, because I'm just going to be upfront with you. We had done this for the Stone Forge, but the Stone Forge is only looking to utilize this for special functions. They're not open regularly on Saturdays, or Sundays rather. And I have a real concern about having, quote-unquote, a bar operating that early on a Sunday. I don't know, I might be too conservative for my age.
No. I understand. It's 6 days a week, basically, as we are right now. The 7th day just gives me another... I can get in there at 9 now, and I can open up at 9. I could be available. People could come, sit, be comfortable at the bar. I don't think too many people are going to come up looking for a beer or whatever. But I could make an egg sandwich, bacon and eggs, steak and eggs, so anything breakfasty. And then if they wanted, the chance to buy a drink or whatever, it's there, it's available.
Madam Chairman, my question is, opening the bar at 10 o'clock, this is really to cater to the group that comes for the flea market?
Yeah, and their patrons.
Yeah, so you're really talking about catering to the flea market group on Sunday,
Yes.
basically.
There's usually not too, if you got to park, it becomes kind of a pain because you got to park out, around. It's the customer base is there.
Yeah. Well, I have some reservations about this, Madam Chairman, and the reason I do is because the kind of circumstance that I'm hearing is that this is really more of a bar type of thing as opposed to a function or a restaurant. I know that crowd gets fairly large. I've been by there on Sunday mornings, and I'm not sure that opening a bar 2 hours earlier provides some advantage to the group that's assembled there. So I have some reservations about this.
Well, it is a bar, per se,
And restaurant.
but it is also a restaurant.
Correct.
It would depend, I think, entirely on whether or not you planned on, as Stone Forge would have planned on, having brunch there every Sunday.
I will incorporate eggs and, Egg McMuffin or anything to do with breakfast, sandwiches, so to say. But the base would be, it goes from food to the availability of liquor. And it's at 10 o'clock, so it's the same thing. So I'm actually getting an opportunity to create more revenue from 10 to 12, and maybe it's going to be more food, and maybe, you know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't been open at 10 o'clock. So I can't honestly say, but I do want to put in eggs. I do want to put in donuts, or whatever it may be,
All right, so your opening time now is what, 12 noon?
12. That we can serve alcohol, correct?
That you can serve alcohol.
What time do you
Okay.
open during the rest of the week?
6.
PM?
Yep. Unless I have a function or something on a Saturday, then I open, you know.
Then you're open at that time.
Correct.
So what you're looking to do is to start at 10 o'clock and not 12 noon with alcohol.
Correct.
Well, I don't know. It's a very, I can understand why you would want to do that. I can understand why you would do that. And I personally don't have any issue with it because there is an awful lot of traffic there, foot traffic, with people in and out of the flea market. And maybe they would want to go in and have a brunch, but I would more likely like you to have a brunch where you would serve
Eggs or, you know, have a scrambled egg
more
special or
so
something
than
like
just
that.
like
I could
scrambled eggs
definitely-
and
I have no
bacon.
problem with working on that, yeah. Bacon, sausage, anything, yes.
Madam Chair,
Sure.
I don't feel comfortable approving it as is. I wouldn't be opposed to the applicant coming back at a later date with a more detailed proposal, but absent a more detailed menu and a definitive plan on the applicant's behalf, I would have to vote to deny the request at this time.
You make a motion.
Yes, that's a motion.
I would second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this point in time, as Mr. Pacheco says, go back and redefine what it is exactly you want to do. If you can show this board that you're going to prepare a definite buffet type of, or whatever, type of a menu to have a brunch on Sundays, then I think perhaps you could reapply, and we certainly would consider it.
Absolutely.
But
Thank you.
at this time, it would be denied.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay. Constable appointment, and that is to appoint Frank A. Denise of 106 Darrington Drive as an auxiliary police officer. Do I have a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion to accept that
Has this-
appointment.
Second?
This been taken care of by the police department?
Approved.
Yes, all approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town administrators report?
Annual and the special town meeting, of course, they're coming up Monday, May 21st. The special is at scheduled for 6:45 PM, and the annual at 7 PM. Pre-town meeting, which we have annually, is next Tuesday at May 15th, 7 PM here at Town Hall, and that's, of course, to discuss any articles on the warrant or budgets or in a more informal setting. The warrant should be delivered here by Wednesday for mailing out to residents by this weekend, so everyone should have it before that time. And the other housekeeping thing is that since pre-town meeting starts at 7, does the board want to change its meeting to 6:30, which is normal procedure?
I'll make a motion that we do
okay.
that.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Good. Yeah, paper contract and correspondence is the Southeastern Regional Services Group contract for paper, mostly copy paper. Masons is the low bidder and has beaten the previous contract prices by $4 or $5 per carton, which is a big saving. And so I'm recommending that the board vote to award the paper bid to Masons for FY13.
Yes, I'll make a motion that we do award that contract to Mason.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And the other thing we have going on, Mr. Betancourt, as you know, has been pushing hard, and we've got an article on the special for to replace the police fire station roof. And the bid opening for that is this Thursday at 11. And of course, the award of the contract is subject to funding by special town meeting. And so the bid award is tentatively scheduled for May 22nd, considering if the town meeting approves that article. So just letting the board know, there's been a lot of interest. We've probably sent out 15 copies of the bid document, so it should be pretty competitive. Upcoming Southeastern Mass Health Group Board meeting Wednesday, May 16th. Household Hazardous Waste Day. This information is all on our website and posted around town and at the transfer station. Saturday, May 19th, 8 a.m. to 12 noon at the transfer station. And we also have our Veterans Memorial groundbreaking ceremony coming up, also on Saturday, May 19th at 10 a.m. And that's all I have for tonight.
Any questions for Randy?
None.
Thank you. Selectmen's report. Joseph, do you have anything?
None tonight, Madam Chairman.
Nothing?
Nothing, Madam Chairman.
Okay. The only thing I will say is we had an awfully good time the other night
We did.
at the retirement party for Mr. McKinnon. I think we all had a good time. We all wished him very, very well in his new endeavor of being a talk show host.
Order suggestion I made to be a member of that Betty White show.
Oh, yeah, off your rockers. Yeah. I saw that, the other night. You said that the last time you were here. And when I saw it come on, I said, that's the show John's talking about. Okay, correspondence. We have a proclamation this evening. And this is a proclamation to a young lady, Lois May Reed. And I will read this. Whereas Lois May Reed was born on May 30th, 1912, in Cochesset, Mass., now part of West Bridgewater, right at the intersection of Route 24 and Route 106, born as Lois May Field. And whereas Lois married Milton Reed of Taunton, Mass., on June 13th, 1937, and her wedding picture was taken under a beautiful rose arbor in front of a family home in Easton, which still stands on Route 27, across the street from Stonehill College. And whereas Lois has two daughters, Meredith Stone of Bridgewater and Sarah Jane Meyer of Raynham, 4 grandsons, 2 granddaughters, 1 great-grandson, and 4 great-granddaughters, one of which was born May 7th, 2012. And whereas Lois has lived in Raynham in the same house she and her husband moved to when they were married on June 13th, 1937, 75 years this June. And whereas in her earlier years she played violin in a string ensemble, also mandolin and banjo, in New Bedford in the early 1930s, refereed girls basketball in a church league, and she started the first Raynham Brownie troupe in the 1940s. And whereas Lois's instincts and agility allowed her to once jump a fence with a child in her arms while being chased by a goat, that was interesting. And whereas her enjoyment have included camping with her family, sewing clothes for herself and her 2 daughters as they grew, cooking, baking, which she still does every Wednesday to bring to the senior center for her weekly highlight of playing bingo, and her most joyous of things, family. Now therefore, we, the Raynham Board of Selectmen, by virtue of the authority vested in us of the town of Raynham, Massachusetts, does hereby proclaim this 30th day of May, 2012, as Lois May Reed Day. Signed this 8th day of May, 2012, Marie Smith, Chairman, Lois Pacheco, Joseph Pacheco, Richard Chavo, Raynham Board of Selectmen. That is beautifully done, beautifully done. And could I have a motion to make it really official?
With pleasure, I make a motion to make this official.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And congratulations to Lois. We have the activity report for the fire department for April. They had 99 calls, 126 ambulance and medical emergencies, 79 miscellaneous calls. Last year at this time on April 30th, they had 731 number of incidences. On April 30th, 2012, they had 865, so you can see how that,
Quite an increase.
That does increase. Yeah, it actually does. But they're doing good. Jimmy's doing a great job. And speaking of the fire department, the professional firefighters of Raynham will be holding their annual youth fishing derby at Johnson's Pond on Saturday, May 12th. It will be a fun-filled day of fishing for children and their families. Raynham youngsters are invited to come to Johnson's Pond with their fishing poles, tackle boxes, and bait, and take part in the derby. Registration begins at the fire station at 7 a.m. and continues at the pond after 8 a.m. The derby runs from 8 a.m. until 12 noon. Children may register in any one of the 3 age groups, 6 and under, 7 to 10, and 11 to 14 years of age. There will be 5 prizes awarded in each age group. Every child at the derby will receive a free goodie bag full of fun stuff provided by the event sponsors. In addition to free fishing, the day will feature food and beverage and prize drawings at the fire station after the derby. The professional firefighters of Raynham have a strong commitment to the community's youth and is proud to host a memorable day of fishing for the kids and families of Raynham. This they have been doing for many years, and it's really a great time. You ought to stop by if you can and see it. It's really great. They don't need any motion on anything like that. We have some tag days. One is from Stephanie Cochran, and it is for Pac 29 of Taunton, and they would like to tag on October 12th and October 19th. From the Sparks All-Star Cheerleading, they will like to ask permission to can in our town fundraising, and it'll be July 6th and August 3rd. This is a cheerleading program with over 150 athletes who travel across New England to participate in this organization. That's quite a large group. Let's see. We would like to request a night out in front of Walmart for a raffle. The high school PTO group is selling raffle tickets, and the proceeds are to benefit the senior class. What's the date? They didn't have a date? Please let us know if it's approved. For when?
Maybe the top sentence.
Top? May 23rd. Focus on Veterans of Raynham. Request the following dates, July 1st, 5th, and 6th. And they are a nonprofit organization. That's it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Press time. Do we have anything?
Just wondering, was there a reporter here last week?
Yes.
No questions then, I guess.
Okay, any emergency business? Citizen input?
Absolutely. Don't we all do that? May I say my name?
Please.
First of all, congratulations for your election, Mr. Almost Neighbor. By listening to Randy, I understand that we're going to have another meeting discussing the articles, and I'm going to raise some questions on some of those. It's divided 50-50 organizational as well as operational. But I would like to, and forgive me for my ignorance, I would like to ask if you can tell me, when overtime occurs, it's up to whom to authorize it? Or if it's excessive, how do we explain it?
Go ahead.
Department are you? Let's say fire department, since you said that
The
you're
chief.
such a good.
The
Yeah,
chief or the
chief.
officer
The
on
chief,
duty.
Because some people, let me give to you what I'm trying to tell you with an example. Some scientists may be geniuses in on their subject, on what they're doing, but horrible when you put them in a classroom and ask them to teach the subject they're so well known. And perhaps fire officials, they may know the subject very well and what they're dealing with, and could be terrible in administrating the department, which is not uncommon. What I'm trying to ask you, gentlemen and ladies, is there a safety net for these individuals to go for help? Because sometimes they have positions that they might feel embarrassed of asking assistance, and the ultimate price, we the citizens end up paying through our pockets. And looking at the demographics lately, this beautiful town of ours, it doesn't have many rich people. So every time when somebody comes up and say, authorize this expense or that expense, so much here, I mean, we never hear getting any money in the town. We're always asked to pay something. And that's why our tax is going higher and higher. So I want to see if there are any plans, or if you guys considering accepting help, to review how actually those monies are spent, or what steps are taken to manage more properly the existing situation that perhaps they are facing. And if that situation is not something that they're familiar with handling, whom do they go asking for help? I know many citizens that they're well versed in those environments. They'll be more than happy to help whoever needs the help, instead of us coming afterwards and screaming and yelling because the management was not properly made. And they need to know, we need to know if they have that safety net, if they have a place for them to go and seek the help.
Madam Chair.
Certainly, go right ahead.
Yeah, I would say, and certainly I'm sure they will add to this, one of the places where that kind of oversight occurs with the involvement of our citizens is the Finance Committee. And the Finance Committee has, what, seven members, I think, now, and these are all, very involved residents who do look at every one of these expenditures and do talk to the departments and do come back to the selectmen with recommendations. So, and they scrutinize it very carefully. So I don't know what else.
I just want to add, John, the overtime numbers are very deceiving. You have to break it down in two components. There's the quote-unquote actual overtime, and then there's the overtime that's required because of minimum staffing requirements. So if you have a firefighter, for example, who calls out sick, we have to fill that shift because we have minimum staffing requirements, and through negotiations, obviously, employees get vacation time. So that number is smaller than what it actually appears in terms of open overtime, if I'm wording that correctly. So, in other words, the fire department, we have to have a minimum of 5, and that's to operate that department safely. It's one manning the desk, and then the rest running the fire engine, and that's required of us by state and federal statutes. And so if a person is out injured right now, I think we have 2 firefighters out injured. If you have somebody on sick time or vacation time, we have to fill those shifts, and that's overtime pay.
I understand. That leads us back to the management issue, okay? We can always have part-timers. So we can have more staff, no?
No.
So we'd rather pay the overtime, $20,000 plus, okay? They're looking for a new roof, okay? $20,000 overtime. Gentlemen, do you know in the industry out there any upper management or executive having this kind of money to deal with on overtime? They can lose their jobs. It's a lot of money. $45,500 a year. It's the average pay a Raynham citizen makes. Let's put the numbers together, okay? We're not a rich community, and we're not a huge community either. I understand, sir, what you're saying about the committee. I know you are part of it. Perhaps that's what they were doing then. If we keep having these kind of numbers, every time, once in a while, we see somebody's coming in with a request. And always the last moment, okay? perhaps we have to start looking at that committee as well to see how much qualified, as you said, they are to question the process. We're not saying that we do not have to pay the money. We do not say that overtime did not occur, or we don't have to follow the rules and regulations, by all means, okay? But let's take a step back and see how things are managed, because apparently something is not, it doesn't fall in place nowadays. We have to either adjust it, fix it, oversee it, or guide it.
Well, John, let's go back to the fire department, as you were talking about overtime. Overtime is very, very delicate in the fire department. If somebody is out, as Joe says, you have to replace them, because we have to have that many people. You can't go out and get anybody to come in and replace them. Everyone on that fire department has to be skilled and trained in that work.
I don't mean to
So
interrupt you, Ms. Smith.
therefore-
I'm so much aware about the requirements of what is qualified individuals.
Okay.
And I fully support this department.
Okay.
I'm not saying that they're doing,
Well,
as you
let
said,
me
I agree
assure
with
you,
you, they're doing
though.
fantastic job. I'm only questioning, why do we allow a $20,000 overtime? Is there something that we can do to even reduce? I understand 2,000. Okay, somebody got sick, 3,000. Okay, 20,000, it's a lot of money.
All
Are
right,
you
we have
not-
two,
Sorry, Madam Chair.
we have two ambulances. Both of these ambulances go out. There wouldn't be anybody in the fire station, so we have to call in 4 people. That's overtime. And that adds up at the end of the year. That adds up.
Very good. So this is the question to you, gentlemen and ladies. If we have to deal with such a big amount of money, what else can we propose as a town, okay, to take steps and introduce something that will eliminate that? Because now, as we said, every year it increases the incidents. Perhaps that's part of the overtime too. You know, next year perhaps the overtime will be 30,000. I mean, every year will be more and more. We're going to ask to pay more because it's overtime. Something's wrong with that picture, isn't it?
Well, I think that our fire chief, number one, is doing a very good job in detailing its overtime to keep it at a minimum. He does not call people in unless they're absolutely needed to be in. That's where the overtime comes in. Vacations, sick time, obviously, that's where overtime comes in, because people have to come out. I don't know what else.
Well, Madam Chair, there was, in that department particularly.
That's
if we're-
because we
yeah,
were
if
talking,
we're
we're not
iso- yeah.
singling them
If we're
out, but
isolating,
just-
for this discussion purpose, if we're
Right.
isolating that one department, 3 firefighters had off-duty injuries, so they had to use sick and vacation time, and that's why you might see a higher number. There was 3 firefighters who had injuries off-duty, extended injuries that required them to be out of work for extended periods of time. And Randy, we were just notified, I think, a week or 2 ago that another one's out, and that with an off-duty injury. So we're not liable for it, but we do have to fill those shifts. So that's why when you say it's last minute because we can't
don't know.
control when somebody breaks a leg.
I
Excuse me,
understand.
And I just wanted to add to that, if I may. I think also like the number 20,000 that you're talking to, I think that's going to be a function of a particular time. In other words, this time next year, it's not going to necessarily be 30,000. It's going to be dependent on the injuries that take place. Maybe next year it'll be half that amount, depending on, what kind of injuries or other extenuating circumstances happen. So it's not a number that keeps growing every year. It's a number that's dependent on this particular circumstance.
I understand. I hope, ladies and gentlemen, you don't, take me as somebody who opposed to fire department
No, no,
or anything.
I think I know where
But
this
I'm
is
I'm
coming
coming from an environment
Yes.
that everybody and everything is accountable,
That's right.
and we do have to give explanations. And $20,000, and take my word for it, in certain independent industries might cost people's jobs because it's an oversight. You don't see that, and you have to answer for that. And sometimes businesses are very tough.
I can assure you, though, that our finance committee goes over every single item with every department, not the fire, not the police, every department.
Mrs. Smith, I totally am trusting to the people that work in this town, and you, all of you, soon you will find out. I'm also always willing to contribute in any way I can. I have no doubt of that. But because, since I don't have personal experience, and eventually I will get involved to see how things are going. Sometimes, in certain areas of management, you do not have the exposure, and therefore perhaps some new ideas or some suggestions may be encouraging to look into it, and that will benefit overall, the people. Please don't take my forthcoming in any way opposing to or questioning the integrity of anybody participating. Simply, I'm talking from my own experience and the way the number sounds.
Well, we assure you that we do not take it personally, or we do not take it in as a front to any department, and we know that it's meant in the best of interest for the community, because we all live here, and anything that you want to bring to us that could shed a light on something, we certainly would
And I will,
appreciate
and you're
it.
never gonna get rid of me.
Thanks,
Well,
John.
good, that's good,
All
I'm
right.
glad. Anything else to come before this board?
Nothing, Madam Chair.
And what's your,
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We will stand adjourned.